Assalamu alaikum, everyone, and a very warm welcome to you all. Uh, Today's session, first working session, starts in the right tone, having Ikram Sehgal Saab talking to us on a very important and a very fascinating topic, which is very close to his heart, which is very close to the hearts of many of us sitting in this audience. A lot of us share some combined history. We have families, we have love, we have affiliation with a country which was once ours and now is an independent country, flourishing, come up as a major economic hub in the coming days, and it's up and coming. But we have a lot of good and difficult history that we share with Bangladesh. And I think there could be no one better than Ikram Sehgal Saab, who shares his personal family links with Bangladesh, his professional links with Bangladesh, his friendly links with Bangladesh, and a lot that he can share with us in this 1 hour that we have. We have another speaker on the panel, Senator Mushahid Hussain Syed Saab, who at the moment has been hijacked by another conference where he's a keynoter, and he might actually be making a James Bond type of entry in a motor speedboat. So hope we can record that as well. But I think you're not here to listen to my anecdotes. Let's move to Ikram Sehgal Saab, who needs no introduction. So shall we move forward and have our conversation on Pakistan-Bangladesh relations? Sehgal Saab, when we were sitting and just exchanging notes as to how to discuss this important topic, you brought up a subject regarding Qaed's vision prior to the partition. If you could kindly speak a little on that as a setting note for our further conversation. Over to you.
Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. First of all, Salma, I'll start off with something that you said just now. And you said about it was once ours. I would say it still is ours.
Mashallah.
It is still our country. I would like to start off with Qaed's vision. Qaed had some. Qaed was a great person for strategy. I think there was no one born in this region, at least, with the type of strategic vision that Qaed had. I would digress a little bit to how Pakistan actually came into being. On 12th of May, rather 8th of May 1942, Congress, Gandhi and Nehru and all launched a Quit India movement. And they said the British should quit India. At that point of time, Singapore had fallen. Rommel was at the gates of Cairo, the Germans. So the British Empire was in total disarray. And at that point of time, it was a very difficult period for the British. And with this Quit India movement, it sort of shook the British. There was a lot of pressure on the Qaed to go with the same Quit India movement. On 25th May 1942, the Qaed said no. We will not be part of the Quit India movement. We will ask for independence afterwards. But now Muslims should join the British Armed Forces in numbers. And with the result that Muslims, which were at that point of time 21 or 22% of the British Armed Forces in India, ultimately became 40%. And at that point in time, just to give you an idea, obviously 2.5 million Indians that eventually became part of the British Armed Forces during World War II, almost 40% of them, after a million of them, then became this thing, which were less than 20,000 at that time. So when all this about independence of India was going on, it was the British Armed Forces that insisted that we must give the Muslims their right. So people forget that. People forget. And out of that, I'm just giving you statistics, 80,000 Muslims died during World War II for the British. Many more also, Indians also, Hindus also died. But the point is, it was that one act. That was a strategic decision. The second strategic decision that he took was when Sarwardi and Fadlul Haq and Abul Hashim went to him in 1946 and said, we should go for, like two independent sovereign states, we should go for United Bengal. If we have United Bengal with us, we have Calcutta port with us, we have Assam with us, entire with the East Pakistan and that thing. The Qaid gave the go-ahead for this in 1946. And ultimately, by the way, and people do not know it, but it was part of the Mountbatten plan to have a united Bengal and Pakistan, etc. Part of this thing was also that the Qaid went to Tara Singh and said, you're asking for Sikhistan, and he used the thing, go for Khalistan, and we will have absolutely no borders between us. You have Khalistan. Can you imagine if the Khalistan at that time had come about, the Kashmir problem would have been solved by itself. So that was strategy. Of course, it didn't work out. There were ways they worked around it, and the Indian National Congress said that even if few people vote against it in the Bengal Assembly against the concept of United Bengal, we will do nothing. So it was scuppered, and ultimately what Qaid got was, like he said, a moth-eaten, truncated Pakistan. What I'm trying to say is that that thing grew out of a strategic vision. Today, whatever, Pakistan was the finest experiment of nationhood in its time. But I'm not going to the history of what went, disparity, discrimination, this, that, etc. The only thing I will say is that it failed. But the one thing that it really, really affected was in 1965. In 1965, there were 18 divisions in then West Pakistan. And there were one division plus one brigade in East Pakistan. All the major squadrons of the Air Force, except one squadron was in East Pakistan. One small flotilla, mostly patrol boats, was in East Pakistan. So I was just telling Salma just before he came in 1965, when Tashkent peace treaty was signed on January 5th, there were Tashkent riots in Pakistan. They did not take part in West Pakistan. They took part in East Pakistan. This is history. I'm not telling you something which is not history. It is history. They took part in East Pakistan. They took part in East Pakistan and the thing, etc., protested. But one thing did come about at that time, that you have left us defenseless. There was, there were two, I talk about the two morons in the military establishment. The first moron thought that the defense of the East lies in the West. The second moron said, Afghanistan gives us strategic depth. These are two biggest morons that I've ever come across. So I've just to start with.
Let me come to the next question, and I guess that feeds into this particular sentiment. This particular notion coming from Bangladesh, that defense of Pakistan lies in the defense of Bangladesh, and any attack on Pakistan is an attack on Bangladesh as well. One notion is this. The other factor is what you have just explained, the way the West Pakistan's defense outlook was, which was very warped and very limited. But then we also have a fear of the Bengali youth or the Bengali mindset, the ferociously independent, the intellectually motivated mindset, which the white man feared in 1857, translated or kind of passed on that fear to the independent decolonized states. The fact that you have just explained in 1965, the grievance of the Bengali, the East Pakistani side, that we had been left defenseless. And now we see 2024 happening, where you have this absolutely spontaneous indigenous uprising in Bangladesh, and the youth advocated for a change or a reset of Bengali uh, politics. So, how do you think this moment of reckoning, this moment of transformation, can be preserved into something far more beautiful than what is unfolding today? And why should we fear this? Why can't we embrace that there is an independent looking people who have stood for the right notion? Why is there so much of fear about speaking out the truth and standing for the truth?
I think the fear is among those people that, first of all, they forget it is their fear that led up to 1971. And their survival exists on that fear, 71. Right? They will keep on talking about various things. I think it is time to let go of 71. 71 was not a good episode. It was a bad period. A lot of bad things happened during 71. And it did not happen. I think there were periods where, a lot of bloodletting took place, a lot of killing took place, etc. The Indians did Pakistan a great favor. In 2021, before that, they started a series of a campaign against Pakistan, propaganda campaign, saying what atrocities the Pakistanis had committed in 1971 in Bangladesh. Now, you can imagine here were the people who were totally, kept pent up because the Indians were totally dominating Bangladesh. So the Bengali youth were not prepared to listen to what the Indians were saying. They took it the other way around, actually. That whatever the Indians are saying is exaggerated, etc., things happened, etc. The one thing that you have to understand is let live. You have to have faith in the Muslims of that area that they will be part of the vision that our forefathers like Qaid and A.K. Fadlak and Savardi had, that we say again and again, two countries, one nation. Two countries, but one nation. Take away the visas on arrival. Many countries we give visas on arrival. Why not give it to the Bangladeshis? And similarly, the Bangladeshis should give it to Pakistanis. Number one. Number two, no tariffs. If goods goes from Pakistan to Bangladesh, there should be no custom duty, free. And similarly, from Bangladesh to Pakistan, jute, tea, etc., should be free of cost, right? Now, that will set a stage for that thing. And must remember that the entire eastern India used to depend on Pakistani textiles because they used to be without duty into East Pakistan at that time. So again, when those Pakistani textiles start going, they will have a huge market there. The market which is now taken up by the Chinese. So we should look forward to a relationship. And the last thing I would say, the biggest guarantee, in 1971, there were three truncated, lightly equipped army divisions fighting in East Pakistan by December. They were mostly flown in with light weapons. They had none of their heavy equipment, none of their armor, none of their artillery, etc., etc. But they were defending against a hostile population and completely this thing. Why does Bangladesh today need 10 divisions? including the best part of an armored division. So they have now 10 divisions there. Let us put it to you like this, that I would say, if I were a Pakistani leader, I would say an attack on Bangladesh is an attack on Pakistan. And I would say to the Bangladeshis that you should say that an attack on Pakistan is an attack on Bangladesh. If you do that, you make sure the strategic repositioning of Indian armed forces is such that the pressure will go away. Both sides. They will have to. 5 of those infantry divisions in Bangladesh and one or two of the armored brigades in Bangladesh are within 10 miles of Indians' lines of communication. From Calcutta to Shillong to Darjeeling, from Akhora and from Agartala right up to Sylhet, etc. They're within 10 miles. You can interdict those communications at any time. The same way our communication line of north-south communications are within this thing.
And I would also, sorry, I'm cutting your chain of thought. I would also like to point out here is that in a conversation with a Bengali military leader, one thing he pointed out very fascinatingly was that with the loss of East Pakistan and the fact that there was a low grade communication and diplomacy between these two countries for a while, Pakistan actually ended up losing its look east policy. So Pakistan doesn't really have a look east vision. So that can also be kind of harnessed when we are looking at having a combined zone, and the notion that you're pointing two countries in one nation, and where you have the military outlook that you're pointing out towards. We can also then revisit and review how our foreign policy overtures can be as a result of this.
I think, foreign policy, like you say, I think foreign policy, I think we have a first class foreign policy establishment. I feel that they have not been given the head they should have been, the independence they should have been given, right? But I can name ambassador after ambassador after ambassador, superb people who actually were in foreign policy. I think if they have a clear vision, it's not a question of look east or look that thing. Today, you know, we can actually decouple ourselves, we should actually decouple ourselves with India. We only needed India so that we could, let's say, have access to Bangladesh or to Southeast Asia. But if they're not going to give us access, they're not even going to play cricket matches with us. So it's a very big country. It's a huge country. It's terrific potential. We should wish them best of luck and say, okay, fine. So I was just saying that I think once you have a strategic direction given to the foreign policy establishment, I think you should leave it to their expertise and potential to do the right thing by Pakistan. Right? And I don't think we should go around, I don't think we're going to go and teach the military tactics. Similarly, I don't think you can go and teach the diplomats diplomacy. So I think the experts should be able to do what they're good at, right? And I don't think, I think a general, of course, strategic vision has to be laid out. And within the strategic vision, it is their job to implement that vision.
Because we do have this tendency, either we just rush into things too fast, or we become too slow into calculating and figuring out, is this the right moment for the intervention or not? I think one should follow the gut feeling and see in notion that this is the right moment, let's do it. And investing into the human capital is very, very important. And while at it, I must acknowledge and thank some of our friends who have traveled from different cities and also from Bangladesh, and who are sitting here in the audience. Thank you so much for joining us for this session today and taking time out. My next question to you is a bit personal. From Chand to the first prisoner of war, lieutenant who escapes from Indian imprisonment, gets, instead of accolades, a lot of sanctioning and a lot of controversy, and ends up embracing controversy, to the fact that you have a very precious part of your family buried in Bangladesh, today's Bangladesh and East Pakistan, to Sehgal Company. How did this long journey come out? Have we really, actually, this is because also I'm saying this is not the journey of one Chand here. This is also the journey of two nations getting mature in understanding that these are realities that we have to embrace and live with. Have we really understood the nuanced notion behind today's Pakistan and Bangladesh, or we're still stuck, as you said, that we need to go past 1971? Would we keep on revisiting it?
You see, I was not given a visa for about 10 years on this thing. So ultimately, when I spoke to some friends of mine, and I said I want to have my only sister. We were one brother, one sister, is buried in Bangladesh, in Dhaka and Bonani graveyard. I wanted to go and to her grave. So I requested for a visa, and I got the visa very quickly, within one day. And on 23rd December night, I flew into Dhaka. And I was purely on a private visit. I had also requested that my father had raised, my mother was Bengali, my father was from Sialkot. My father had raised the 2nd Battalion of the East Bengal Regiment on 7th February 1949. I requested that, and I was commissioned into that battalion in October 1965 at the age of 19. And I visited them again officially in 2008 in Dhaka. So I requested that if I be allowed to visit this thing, because obviously there are security considerations. So even before I reached Dhaka, I was told that yes, you will be able to go, but we'll get the logistics together. I did not know where that unit was, but by some coincidence, that unit was the same place in Jessore. So I was very pleasantly surprised when I landed there. They told me that not only will you go to Jessore, but you have lectured in the NDC, National Defense College, for many years in Dhaka, and we want you to visit that also. And the people that I lectured to were instructors in the Command and Staff College in Dhaka. So I got to go and meet them also. But the high point was meeting the chief advisor, Mr. Mohammad Yunus, which was a total surprise for me. But it was arranged. And I went, and it was supposed to be a 45-minute meeting. I met him for an hour and a half. But it was a very emotional thing, because when I went to Jessore, and I had the GOC of the division meet me, the brigade commander. They took me around. They showed me my father's photographs. I had been there, the same location, at a 3-year-old. I was at their same location as a 19-year-old. General Yaqub was a linguist. He knew 17 languages fluently. And I do remember him addressing Bengali troops at a station parade in Chittagong. And his entire speech went over the heads of all Bengalis, because it was delivered in such high, fluent Bengali that none of them understood the high-flown Bengali that he was speaking. Let me tell you, the bad relations with Pakistan and Bangladesh actually stayed only for till 1977, when Mujib was assassinated, and then the relation became very good. And of course, Mr. Rafiuz Zaman Saab is here, ambassador, but He will tell you that from the time of Ziaur Rahman first, when he proposed SARC, and then General Shah, right, and then Khalda Zia, and even during Hasina Wajid's first period, as this thing, there was tremendous relationship between the two prime ministers, Hasina Wajid and Mia Nawaz Sharif, which, by the way, still lasts for whatever it is worth till today. So the point is that the problem only started after when she came the second stint in 2008, 2009, when she came back with the help of India, and then she started getting beholden to India. And this last 15, 16, 17 years have been the worst of that relationship. So I don't think this thing, I do remember going with Mia Nawaz Sharif for a D8 conference to Dhaka. And at that time, there's an India-Pakistan cricket match going on. And he was very upset because he was told that he should not go to the stadium because there would be anti-Pakistan demonstrations and all that. And Mr. Sataji asked me, he says, is this true? I said, no, it's not true. So we went to the old Dhaka stadium, which was right in the center of Dhaka. And we walked up because there was a very strange, we went up the stairs, then you went behind, there was a way. And the first thing you did was that the girls' enclosure came first. And when he was walking there, the entire girls were thinking, and most of them had on their cheeks Chantara. He just stopped there stunned. I do remember. And then when he walked in, and it was open because there was no boxes there, there was open this thing, and he was cheered by the crowd. And by some coincidence, Saeed Anwar and Amr Sohail were going berserk at that time, at the Indian, that thing, etc. So, I mean, I do remember that as a very high point, this thing. So, I think it is not a question of we did have a good relationship. Now the question of 3 million, that thing, that's bunkum, frankly speaking. And it's been, that has been methodically and scientifically, absolutely studied and analyzed. That was nothing. And then in that, people who died, there was a lot of Biharis among them who also died.
And that's going to be my next question to you. There's a very strong factor that Pakistan and Bangladesh share with one another, and that is the shared population, the Biharis as we commonly call them, who are Pakistani nationals sitting in Bangladesh now. Let's do the nomenclature for the sake of political currency. Do we think that there could be amicable, better settlement of the Bihari population back into Pakistan? Now that some of the political difficulties have been ironed out or would be further ironed out, and can Pakistan really absorb them? Do we have the capacity? Can we really do a good settlement for these beleaguered people?
First of all, I would not call them Biharis. I would call them stranded Pakistanis.
Stranded Pakistanis, thank you.
Straight away. Number two, if we can have 3 million Afghans staying here, we can certainly, if 300,000 stranded Pakistanis want to come back to Pakistan, I think they have every right. This is their country, and they have to this thing. Now, where they settle, and if they want to come, I think if you give them freedom to come, you will find that a lot of them, their generations have now become part of Bangladesh. It's just a question now. I don't think even 20% of them or 15% of them will opt to come to Pakistan, of the original people. But the point is, that is not a subject of this thing. First of all, they're not Biharis, they're stranded Pakistanis, and they have every right to come, right? And if you have what we have is, visas on arrival and no tariffs and all that, then, like I said, 2 countries, 1 nation. Let them settle where they want to settle.
Thank you so much. Sehgal Saab, we could talk endlessly. We could have this dialogue endlessly, but we have a very engaged audience sitting with us. And we already have one hand risen. Sir, if the The gentleman in the third row, yes, kindly.
मेरा सवाल आपसे सर ये है कि आपके ओपिनियन में, और शायद मैंने मिस कर दिया हो, क्या हमने एज ए नेशन कोई एट्रोसिटीज़ की थी ईस्ट पाकिस्तान में 1971 में जिस पे हमें अपोलोजाइज़ करना चाहिए? पहला है। लेकिन इससे लिंक दूसरा है कि अज्यूमिंग आपकी जजमेंट में वो हमने नहीं की, तो एटलीस्ट मेरा व्यू ये है कि वो हमारे भाई हैं। अगर इससे रिलेशनशिप हील होती है, अगर हम अपोलोजाइज़ कर भी लें, तो इसमें क्या हेसिटेशन है? मतलब नेशंस के लिए इतना बड़ा इशू क्यों होता है अपोलोजाइज़ करना? मैं ये आपसे, और हमारे लिए क्यों है ये इतना, मैं आपसे सवाल करना चाहता हूँ।
मैं आपको, एज ए हेलीकॉप्टर पायलट इन ईस्ट पाकिस्तान, I was witness to the atrocities committed on the Biharis between 1st and 10th of March 1971. I have seen with my own eyes entire places like Firoz Shah colony, a TNT colony in Chittagong burnt to the ground, bodies lying around. They were Biharis. Now, on the other hand, after 25th March 71, it was the other way around. And a lot of killing did take place. Atrocities were committed from both sides, right? Because of the numbers, a lot of atrocities were committed mostly against the railway populations, because mostly the railways were inhabited, stations and all were inhabited by the Biharis, but also in other places. But then again, the atrocities were committed. I think it's time to let go. And I totally agree with you. Your simple apology is of no consequence. Just let's do the apology and get along with our lives.
अस्सलाम वालेकुम सहगल साहब, सबसे पहले तो मैं बहुत अप्रिशिएट करता हूँ आपको कि आपने जो है वो बांग्लादेश के बारे में ये कहा कि फ्री जो है वो ऑन अराइवल वीज़ा होना चाहिए। मैं तो कहता हूँ कि ये तो एक ही मुल्क था, पहले भी, आज भी है और कल भी हम भाई भाई थे। हम न्यू जनरेशन्स हैं, वो सब वक्त गुजर गया। और ये बेसिकली जो अभी रिसेंटली जो 2024 में वहाँ पे चेंज आया, तो वहाँ के लोगों ने तो जो है हमेशा जो है साबित किया कि वो हमसे प्यार करते हैं। वो न्यू जनरेशन ने भी साबित किया, वो सब पुरानी चीज़ों को भूल गए। पाकिस्तान ने जो है, यहाँ के लोगों ने ये अभी तक जो है प्रूफ नहीं किया। उस ज़माने में 1971 में भी एस्टेब्लिशमेंट थी, उसकी वजह से ये 71 हुआ ये। और आज भी अगर मैंडेट चोरी हो गया तो ये डिस्कशन कौन करेगा कि हम उनके साथ जो है हमारी दोस्ती होगी या नहीं होगी? आज भी वो एस्टेब्लिशमेंट, वो मैंडेट नहीं मिला फरवरी 8 का।
सहगल साहब, आपसे ही सवाल है कि आपने ये इरशाद फरमाया कि बंगाली अवाम ने जो PNT कॉलोनी और फलां कॉलोनियों में जो लोग रहते थे उसका कत्लेआम किया, उन्होंने अपने डिफेंड में किया और उसके मैंडेट चोरी हुआ। और आज भी यहाँ भी जाली हुकूमत है, वहां भी जाली हुकूमत है। ये कैसे हो सकता है कि नेक्स्ट टाइम अगर फेयर एंड फेयर इलेक्शन हुए और हसीना आई और आपके क्या ताल्लुकात अच्छे रहेंगे? अच्छा, नंबर 1। नंबर 2, ये आप कह रहे हैं कि 2 नेशन और 1 कंट्री, ये तो दो कौमी नजरिया तो इन्होंने खलीज बंगाल में गिर चुका।
मैंने बोला था 2 कंट्रीज 1 नेशन।
2 कंट्री 1 नेशन, हाउ कैन पॉसिबल?
2 नेशन 1 कंट्री नहीं हो सकता। 2 कंट्रीज 1
तो 2 नेशन थ्योरी तो हमारी खलीज बंगाल में गिर चुकी है। वो भाई के बुनियाद पर अभी भाई नहीं हो सकते। पहले हम अपोलाइज तो करें, हम माफिया तो मांगे।
थैंक यू सर।
जी देखिए, ये आप सवाल जो कर रहे हैं ना, मैं ना रूलिंग क्लास में से हूँ ना मैं एस्टैब्लिशमेंट में हूँ। तो आप ज़रूर जाएं और वहाँ पर चीफ मिनिस्टर साहब का वहाँ पर है, वहाँ पर जाके ये बातें करें। मैं अगर जो पहुँचा सकता तो ज़रूर पहुँचा देता।
आपकी राय पहुँच रही है। थैंक यू सो मच जी।
एनी अदर क्वेश्चन?
मेरा नाम मोहम्मद जमील है।
शुक्रिया जी।
तो यहाँ पर मैं आया हूँ 1970 में, एंड आई ग्रू अप फ्रॉम ए स्कूल बॉय टू ए प्रोफेशनल हियर, एंड आई हैव अ लॉट ऑफ इमोशनल अटैचमेंट। माय मदर इज़ बरीड ओवर इन ढाका। यहाँ पर जो है वो मैंने जो अपने तौर पे आई एम ए ग्रास रूट पर्सन, तो मेरे अपने जो तौर पे पाकिस्तान के अंदर जब मैं वहाँ था, मैं जब जर्मनी में,
जमील साहब अगर आप बराए मेहरबानी सवाल कर लीजिए।
सवाल करने के लिए सवाल के लिए थोड़ा सा इंट्रोडक्शन जरूरी है।
आपको टाइम नहीं है ना जी।
तो जब
सेशन खत्म हो जाएगा,
जब मैं बांग्लादेश में, जब मैं जर्मनी में गया तो वहाँ पर there were 17 of them Bengalis from Bangladesh. I was alone from Pakistan. तो हमारी जो
Sir, then we'll have this conversation later. I'm so sorry. We are really pressed for
मैं
time.
असल बात पर मैं आ रहा हूँ
जी बेटा, जी.
मैं असल बात पर आ रहा हूँ हमारे दोनों लोगों में मेरी फीलिंग के मुताबिक कोई डिफरेंस नहीं है वी गेट अलॉन्ग वेरी वेल
आप फरमा रहे हैं कि पर्सन टू पर्सन एक ही नेशन है.
I think that's the gist of our conversation here.
My question is कि क्या हसीना वाजिद और इतना उन्होंने narrative hatred पैदा कर दी है कि can it change या is it not so?
It has changed. I will answer this question. It has changed. Simple.
I am Dr. Yasmin Qazi. First, I'd like to say that the differences started with the language issue, and when the students were killed and the Shahid Minar was built. So we can't say we are the same people. We've always been the same people. Then about the killing of Biharis, I'll say that was by a renegade army or whatever. But if a state does something against its own people, officially with its own army, that is something else. So all the people, even if they are willing for friendship, they need an apology, want an apology, especially those who have suffered on their own. Now about the numbers, they admit the numbers are wrong. Mujib got confused and said 3 lakh, he said 3 million. So that is not so. But I think should an apology be given? Will the army ever apologize? Because the leaders...
बहुत शुक्रिया. The lady at the in the second row.
Thank you so much. My name is Sabine Agha and I'm a journalist and a documentary filmmaker. Sehgal Saab, you gave a very, it sounds very emotionally appeasing to my, thought process that Biharis are stranded Pakistanis and, they have all the rights to come. Yes, definitely they have. My question is that, what is happening with the Biharis that are here in Pakistan? And what makes you think that, the Biharis, when they are, brought here in Pakistan, are we going to, treat them the way the Afghan refugees are being treated? What kind of resources do we have to have those Biharis here?
Thank you so much, Sabine.
अस्सलाम वालेकुम सर मेरा नाम काजी शाहिद परवेज़ है मैं सिंध पब्लिक सर्विस कमीशन का मेंबर हूँ और हम ग्रेड 16, 17, 18 एंड अबव इनकी एम्प्लॉयमेंट करते हैं गवर्नमेंट ऑफ सिंध के लिए मैं उसी रेफरेंस से पूछ रहा हूँ मैं तकरीबन 25 से 50% जो हमारे नौजवान हैं उनसे ये सवाल पूछता हूँ कि बेटा 16 दिसंबर की हमारी हिस्ट्री में अहमियत क्या है तो आधे तो जवाब नहीं देते और आधे कहते हैं कि एपीएस हुआ था हम 16 दिसंबर 1971 को भूल चुके हैं क्या ये एक डेलिब्रेट अटेम्प्ट था हमारे जो भी थिंकर्स हैं फिलोसोफर्स हैं या जो कौमों के मेमार हैं या ये कोई ऐसा फिनोमेना है जिसे ख़त्म नहीं किया जा सकता
बहुत शुक्रिया
First of all, how Biharis are treated here or there, I think we are all citizens of a country and it's our right to assert our rights as we are. Now we are not saying bring them en bloc and settle them here. They should be given a voluntary right. If they want to come, they can come, right? And they can be given some support as necessary. Number two, 16 December is something we should never forget. And we should make sure that we never repeat 16 December again. Right? This is something we should do. Number two, I just want to just put in one thing about 2 countries and 1 nation. The Pakistan Military Academy today has 2 Bengali female cadets from Bangladesh and 1 male. The Pakistan Military Academy today, in the last few days, the last month or so, 2 Bengali female cadets are being trained in the Pakistan Military Academy in Kakul. So that is the thinking of the establishment. You can imagine to allow female candidates to come into the Pakistan Military Academy. Right? So I think a lot of things are happening which we are not aware of on the surface. And a lot of things will keep on happening. Right? I'm not privy to a lot of things, and I don't want to be privy to a lot of things. Let things happen naturally as they are happening. But let me tell you that, I see the French Consul General sitting at the back, Nikhil. But the biggest enemies for the last 100 years are France and Germany. And they are the biggest of friends now. So let's get on with our lives. If France and Germany, who kept on fighting for 150 years, now for the last 50 years they can be the best of friends, no more than 50 years, and in fact have a common market, right? So let's take things from there. These people say, somebody tries to say, "Gee, we are not," you said that they speak different languages. How many languages are there in India? How many languages? There are 1,200 languages in India, right? But they are one country. So my point is, language, yes, is this thing, but at the end of the day, it is what the association that holds you together. And I think, and I repeat to you, we have a bond between us that even Hasina Wajid could not break. So it will do.
Thank you. Thank you, Sehgal Saab. Thank you very much for a very engaging, a very heartfelt Q&A session from the audience. Apologies to all those जिनकी हम questions नहीं ले सके और बहुत ज़्यादा talk time नहीं दे सके, but this is the beauty of the Oxford Festival, that you have 1 hour and you have to capture everything in that one particular hour. So we've end this session on 2-3 provocative and heartfelt questions. The point that Sehgal Saab said, that 1971, 16 December should never be forgotten, but more importantly, and it should remain a live memory, not for trauma memorization, but for trauma healing. And that is very important. Also the fact that we should never forget what went wrong. Why did 1971, 16 December happen? But the bigger question today is that have we, both Pakistan and Bangladesh, actually moved past 1971, or are we still stuck in the moment? One major factor could be that the youth of today, which is a far more smarter youth, the Gen Z, the Gen Alpha, the Gen Beta that is, mashallah, being born as of 2025, can they do better than us? And they have all the capacity to do better than us, because they have a very stronger knowledge base and they don't carry any emotional baggage with them. They are constructing their own history, their own past, their own future, and their own present. So wherever we followed, wherever we erred, one can only hope and pray that our future generations do better. They learn from the past and they don't repeat the past mistakes. The choice is ours. Do we remain victims of history? We moved past 1947. It still remains a very live memory for us. But there are certain amongst us who have suffered a double partition, 47 and 71. And that is a tragedy that we should all remember very, very, very strongly and learn lessons from it rather than remain hostage to the sentiment. And I would, of course, end it with my favorite Faiz Ahmad Faiz poem, where he talked about on returning from Dhaka, जब उन्होंने कहा कि हम के ठहरे अजनबी इतनी मदारातों के बाद फिर बनेंगे आशना कितनी मुलाकातों के बाद. So I hope even one mulaqat is strong enough to mend the fences. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen, for your coming here and joining us. Thank you, Sehgal Saab.
Thank you.
And unfortunately, I wanted Mushahid Saab to be doing a James Bond moment, taking a speedboat from Menora and coming here. But वो नहीं हो सका. मैंने तो कैमरे भी अरेंज कराए थे कि जब मुशाहिद साहब स्पीड बोट पर आए और जेम्स बॉन्ड की तरह स्टेज पे आए तो फिर हमारे सेशन में एक नया वो जिद्दत आएगी. बट इंशाल्लाह नेक्स्ट टाइम. बहुत शुक्रिया आप सबका. अस्सलाम वालेकुम.